Hello everyone, I'm Melanie, also publisher of the Lansing Journal. I'm standing here with Paul Czapkowicz, who is sort of our business reporter and Lansing government. He's been attending all of the Lansing Village Board meetings and reporting on those. You've seen his name, but I don't know if you've ever seen Paul's face.
Oh,
this
wow,
is his first video. So we were in tonight's village board meeting together. It is Tuesday, January 20, and kind of a short meeting for a change.
Yeah, pleasantly
Only a
surprised.
couple hours.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, it's one of the things, if you follow the village, what they do is on Tuesdays, the first and third Tuesdays of the month, except this is an exception for this month, they only have the one meeting, but they do the regular village board meeting followed by the committee of the whole meeting. And so one
Two
thing,
meetings in one.
2 meetings in one, 2 for the price of one. And the thing that's important, though, to realize is that most of the discussions take part basically in the committee of the whole meeting.
So it's the second meeting.
Right, that's the second meeting. So it's always kind of like one behind. So like if you watched the meeting tonight, the regular village board meeting that started at 6 o'clock, you might think, well, they didn't discuss anything. They just voted and they didn't, really talk about anything. They had earlier at a previous committee of the whole meeting. So otherwise it'll look like, they discuss this in private. So you might have, one of the things at the village board meeting was they approved for a new business coming to town, Melton Dip, I believe.
Right.
I've written about it a couple times.
Paul reported on that.
Right. So that's a place that's looking to move into a dessert shop that's looking to move into where the old Arby's was, right off of the expressway 8094 entrance exit right on Torrance. So that's been talked about for a while. That had been discussed at previous committee of the whole meeting and also at a planning and zoning meeting. So today they finally gave approval for a drive-through and outdoor seating. So that was...
This is kind of the final step of the, approval process before they can actually open their business.
Right. So that was one of the main things in the regular board meeting. And then followed that was the committee of the whole meeting where they talk about things that are likely to appear on a future agenda for a regular board meeting. And one of the things that kind of stood out that was interesting is they're looking to create an ordinance that will limit like food trucks and kind of like transient businesses like that. And so they focused on one that I think tends to set up shop over on Burnham Avenue by Family Dollar.
They showed pictures of what's really a very popular taco truck.
Yeah, it seems to be.
In the process of shutting it down if this ordinance goes through.
Yeah, so it sounds like the mayor and the village board are looking to, kind of do this, not only protect people from, making sure they go through the health regulations and the health checks, but also to protect the businesses in town who pay property taxes and actually set up kind of a brick and mortar business. So that was one of the highlights of what was on the committee of the whole meeting.
It sounded like they were kind of making the case that these pop-up food vendors are really sort of stealing business or stealing the trust of the public and there's no cost to it because they don't pay property taxes, they haven't paid for a business license, they haven't gone through the process.
Yeah.
So they were presenting it as this really isn't fair to our business community. And there could be danger for residents because there's no health inspection of a taco truck.
Yeah, I think they just kind of portrayed as kind of taking the easy way out and not having to follow all the other regulations and the expenses that go involved with having an actual storefront.
It sounded like the trustees are in support of that.
It seemed like it from what was discussed, and that's supposed to come up again at another future committee of the whole meeting, I guess, when the attorney has a chance to write up the actual ordinance.
Right.
So, what else do you think? Anything else? Other than that, general business, village board business like approving payroll and accounts payable and reports from like the police and fire about activity, and so that's kind of what typical takes place at the board meetings. So
So the rest of the video that this introduction is introducing is the whole meeting. So you're welcome to watch the whole meeting if you'd like to see it. And look for Paul's reports. He'll be writing up all of the highlights, wouldn't you say, of the board meeting?
Yeah.
If you want the whole thing, watch the video. If you want just the highlights,
Right.
then tune in for Paul's series of articles there.
That's it.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the Village of Lansing's board meeting, January 20th, 2026. Will you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, will you please take roll?
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Here.
Trustee Nommensen. Here. Trustee Abbasy.
Here.
Trustee Smith. Here. Trustee Leo.
Here.
Trustee Valencia.
Here.
Trustees have before them the minutes of the public hearing on December 2nd, 2025. Are there any questions or discussions? If not, I need a motion to accept. So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please take roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Trustee Smith. Aye. Trustee Leo.
Aye.
Trustee Valencia.
Trustees also have before them the minutes from the public hearing on December 16th, 2025. Are there any questions or discussion on that one? If not, I need a motion to accept. So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Trustee Smith. Trustee Leo.
Aye.
Trustee Valencia.
Trustees have before them the minutes from the village board meeting on December 16th, 2025. Are there any discussion or questions on that one as well? If not, I need a motion to accept. So moved. We have a motion and a second to accept. Please take the roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Trustee Smith. Trustee Leo. Trustee Valencia.
Trustees have before them the minutes from the executive session meeting on December 16th, 2025. Again, any questions or discussion on that one? Now I need a motion to accept. So moved. We have a motion and a second as well on that. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Trustee Smith. Trustee Leo. Trustee Valencia.
Thank you. All right, under the mayor's report, I have nothing. We're going to move right on to our village administrator's report. Mr. Podgorski.
Thank you, Mayor, for helping in this meeting tonight.
Thank you, sir. We're going to move right on to our village attorney's report. Mr. Walsh.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to finance and HRC, Trustee Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Village of Lansing. I'd like to make a motion to approve total payroll for the period of December 26, 2025 and January 9, 2026 for $1,585,445.93. And for total accounts payable for the periods of December 9th and January 20th in the amount of $2,957,870.82.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on total payroll for $1,585,445.93. Also, total accounts payable for $2,957,870.82. Are there any questions? I have a motion and a second, so please take a roll.
Trustee Smith. Aye. Trustee Valencia.
Aye.
Trustee Lamont.
Aye.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Trustee Zeldenrust, excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. Now I'll go on to the monthly reports. Just have update on HRC. Didn't get a report. They just had their second annual MLK event on Saturday at Memorial. It was about approximately 120 people that attended, and it was magnificent. The turnout was great. The agenda was great, as well as the food. If you missed out, shame on you. Come next time. It was buffet style. And the decorations was also very nice. Thank you, Donna, for putting those 5,700 pictures up on Facebook, or Fabian, whoever did that. Thank you very much. Look forward to next year's MLK event. Next, I'll pass it over to Director Hanigan for finance report.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Through the first 8 months of the year, the village is on target for its for another surplus of about 4% of the municipal budget. Through the first 8 months of the year, we had general operating revenues of $20.24 million as compared to operating expenditures of $19.23 million, or about $1 million of revenues over expenditures. I will have a quarterly review at the February 17th meeting, which will give the board and the public a 9-month summary of the year, and that'll be used as the basis for the preparation, hard as is believed, for the 2027 fiscal year budget. To give the board and the public an update, the village did receive a little less than $2.4 million in 3 installments from our delayed property taxes that, as the board knows from previous meetings, were delayed about approximately 5 months. Those payments came in on 12/29, 12/30, and 1/14. We'll continue to receive a few more payments, but that's most of the $2.5 million that Cook County was in arrears to the village. One note, the village did receive a FEMA reimbursement, which was about 3 years in coming, for about $42,000 from the pandemic, which I believe that was over 5 years ago now, and we're just being paid by FEMA. So it's another indication of why we need to have a certain amount of reserves in our operating budget to accommodate things like timing and all the things that we have to do with whether it's Cook County, whether it's the federal government, or how the village receives its funds. So, and right now, our cash reserves are reflecting the positive operating performance. We have somewhere between $20 and $22 million of cash reserves, which, again, sounds like a substantial amount, but it really represents only about half of the village budget, or about 6 to 7 months of operating spending. So it's right on target with prudent financial management. Our health insurance continues to be a concern. I know Administrator Podgorski and I have a meeting later with our broker to begin to talk about the framework of our medical costs for fiscal year 27, but suffice to say, our medical costs have gone up 40% in 3 years. To give the board and the public an idea, we were talking about $5 million of medical spending budgeted in 2023. That number will be close to $7.2 million in 2025, 2026. So again, we're going to have to continue to think of creative ways to continue to fund medical costs. Again, this is not just a Lansing problem, it's a nationwide problem, but continues to be a concern. And then just to touch base on our workers' comp liabilities, our workers' comp is running about 47% of the budget, so it's in target, or it's in line with the targeted budget. Our general liability and property claims are approximately 46% of the budget spending, so we're both in line with both of those. That's all I have, Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have for me.
Thank you, Trustee. We're going to move on to Fire and Economic Development, Trustee Abbasy. You're right.
Insurance.
You're right. I apologize. I'm sorry, I forgot you.
You're here today?
Hi, are you here? Airport and Insurance Trustee Valencia.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
So, Finance Director Hanigan already reviewed the insurance, so thank you for that. We'll go into motion that we approve the Lansing Municipal Airport Transportation Improvement Program, FYI 2027 to 2031, to be submitted to the Illinois Department of Transportation, Division of Aeronautics.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Lansing Municipal Airport IGQ Transportation Improvement Program for FFY 2027 through 2031 to be submitted to the Illinois Department of Transportation, Division of Aeronautics. Any questions or discussion on this? If not, clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Valencia.
Aye.
Trustee Smith. Aye. Trustee Lombardi.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Aye. Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
All right, moving on to our monthly reports. Lansing Municipal Airport.
Thank you,
Town,
Trustee.
yep, thank you.
On December 4th, airport staff had the regular monthly meeting with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly engineers. The main topics were projects number IGQ 5199 for the Quonset hut doors and IGQ 5243 rehabilitated runway 927. On December 4th, we had a meeting with CMT engineers for the project 5199 for the Quonset hut doors, which will begin construction roughly spring and summer of this year. And project number IGQ 5243, documents will be submitted to the Illinois Department of Transportation for the letting due to discretionary fund use. The surveying work has begun for this project, and IDOT has completed a preliminary review and approval. CMT will submit the draft and engineer agreement for IDOT's approval. On the 16th, CMT presented the final transportation improvement program report to the village board. The report required considerable input from all CMT engineering staff and airport support staff. The final report is very comprehensive for the next 5 years. Maintenance issues. On December 3rd, USA Fire Protection Company installed a 10-inch fire bell alarm at 3259 Airport Drive per Lansing fire prevention requirements. On December 11th, new furniture was delivered to the FBO building, 3259 Airport Drive, in the lobby area. On the 15th of December, the painting began at the FBO building in the lobby area. Weed and decorating staff did an excellent job, and the airport staff have received many compliments. That's all I have tonight, Trustee. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Fire and Economic Development, Trustee Abbasy.
Thank you, Mayor. My items for consideration tonight, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 26-001, granting a special use permit for a drive-through facility within the B2 Community Retail and Service District, 17350 Torrance Avenue, Melton Dip Dessert Cafe.
Second. We have a motion and a second on ordinance number 26-001, granting a special use permit for a drive-through facility within the B2 Community Retail and Service District located at 17350 Torrance Avenue, Melt and Dip Dessert Cafe. Are there any questions or discussions? If not, clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Valencia.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Aye. Trustee Lombardi.
Aye.
Trustee Smith. Aye.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we would adopt ordinance number 26-002, granting a special use permit for an outdoor seating use within the B2 Community Retail and Service District, 17350 Torrance Avenue, Melton Dip Dessert Cafe.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on ordinance number 26-002, granting a special use permit for an outdoor seating use within the B2 Community Retail and Service District located at 17350 Torrance Avenue, Melt and Dip Dessert Cafe. Are there any questions or discussions? If not, clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Valencia.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Aye. Trustee Lombardi.
Aye.
Trustee Smith. Aye.
Thank you. Just briefly, Mr. Khan, congratulations. We look forward to your success at that location, and thank you for continuing to invest in Lansing.
Thank you. We're looking forward to serve Lansing right from there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you very much. We're looking forward to it.
Taste testing.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
I'd like to make a motion that we would approve resolution number 1528, authorizing and approving an agreement of purchase and sale of the property located at 1650 Thornton Lansing Road.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on resolution 1528, authorizing and approving an agreement of purchase and sale of the property located at 1650 Thornton Lansing Road. Are there any questions or discussion by the trustees? If not, clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Valencia.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Aye. Trustee Lombardi.
Aye.
Trustee Smith. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustees. I'd like to move on to monthly reports. We'll start with our fire chief, Chief Kooyenga.
Thank you, Trustee. Just briefly tonight, again, no run numbers this month.
In this mid-December, we went from, this is probably more everybody, Nippers is how we report our data, to NARIS. So it's kind of been a change. So you'll have to anxiously await my presentation in March when I'll give you December's numbers. So something to look forward to because again, though, training-wise, 2025, we completed over 5,500 hours of in-house training, which is a vast improvement over years, probably from 7 years ago when I started. And on top of earning 26 state certifications throughout the year. So again, a lot of training hours gone in by the men and women of the fire department. Really proud of that. Fire prevention and education. Again, fire prevention activities, aside from our normal inspections and pre-planning, included presenting an NFPA Learn Not to Burn lesson at Nathan Hale School, where we focused on teaching students to just stay away from hot objects and kind of just, again, minimize any exposures to being burned. Shift and Fire Prevention Bureau participated in a Christmas reading program at Lansing Christian School. We attended the Breakfast with Santa event, attended the Parade of Lights, and also the Christmas tree lighting at Fox Point. And one last thing, kind of, if you probably have to go back a couple years, but if you remember, in 2002, we passed an ordinance requiring sprinklers to be installed in a lot of our hotels. I know this was something we presented to the board. Interestingly enough, on December 18th, the automatic sprinkler system that we had Red Roof Inn installed in 2024 successfully controlled the refrigerator fire with just that single sprinkler head. This was a hotel room that had a lot of problems with hoarding and just, a bunch of stuff that probably shouldn't have been in there, but they were able to extinguish that fire with that single sprinkler head. So pretty great, it was a great effort by the village board, getting that passed back then, and we saw it really pay dividends on the 18th. So just want to keep everybody aware of that. Other than that, I have nothing else for you.
Actually, I have one question for you. Just curious and figured I had the platform. So with the new train line in Munster on Ridge Road, has the fire department discussed at all? Are there any changes to routes or things like that? Or just kind of hoping that you don't get caught up some of the other trains in town?
Yeah, I mean, again, that used to be an active train line years ago. It paralleled the old Handy Andy, I think it was, in Munster Lumber before that. So it's something, kind of new, or old has become new again. Being a commuter line, we're not as worried about it blocking the traffic, and it's, probably momentarily affected. And we do have a couple of workarounds. We can always go down home and then kind of skirt around through that neighborhood if we have to.
Thank you. Just curious about it.
Great question.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, for economic development, I'll turn things over to Administrator Podgorski.
Thank you, Trustee Abbasy. Just a couple of items of note. First of all, staff is beginning to work on implementation in the quarterly reports for the low-income energy efficiency grant that we accepted last month. We had to submit our first quarterly report that was due December 31st. Donna Stucker and our development consultant Jack Hines attended a webinar for some suggestions on how to roll out the grant. I think we already kind of have a game plan put together, so we'll start to see some output later this year to notify people how to take advantage of that. We're also working with Cook County and Weaver Consultants on a environmental Phase 2 report on property at 16770 Chicago Avenue. It's a vacant building. We have an interested party that wants to locate there. Continue to work with brokers and owners of property on Torrance Avenue for additional land assembly, which will pave the way for additional redevelopment in that Torrance corridor. And as the trustees can see, a number of other addresses throughout the village that we're working with potential new businesses, some that want to move here, some that want to relocate to other areas of town, and some that might be on their way, but we hope to have some placements lined up for them. So plenty of activity, and we hope to have a robust development here again here in the village.
Thank you, Administrator. It was good to see Smoothie King break ground in December and get some work on that property, so that was encouraging. So always good to see progress. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee. We're going to move on to Police and Public Works, Trustee Zeldenrust.
Thank you, Mayor. We got no action items for the police department, but on the public works, we do have one motion that we approve ordinance 26-003, authorizing and approving the execution of a fourth amendment to the tax increment financing agreement between the Village of Lansing and Lewisville Hotel Partners, LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on ordinance number 26-003, authorizing and approving the execution of a fourth amendment to the tax increment financing agreement between the Village of Lansing and Lewisville Hotel Partners, LLC. Are there any questions or discussions? If not, clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Zeldenrust.
Aye.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Valencia.
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen. Aye. Trustee Lamothe.
Aye.
Trustee Smith. Aye.
Thank you. We have the monthly reports for the police department. Chief Phillips.
Thank you, Trustee. The month of December, we handled 3,286 calls for service. Training continues to be our priority. Even in the winter months, we've been pushing our officers and supervisors through an extensive training system. We handled 562 traffic stops, 159 community policing, 744 premise checks, and 59 arrests in the month. We continue to push our traffic enforcement with 644 state traffic offenses. Officers responded and assisted at several different events throughout the month, including a tree lighting ceremony, a Knights of Columbus swim club party, breakfast with Santa, and other Christmas-related events. LPD participated in another Breakfast with the Blue event with a Christmas tune sing-along. We partnered up with several autistic students at TF South and played a game where we all had to sing the remainder of a song that was played. It was a gentle reminder that singing is not our strength. Shop with a Cop was another great success again this year. Officers paired up with several students from Heritage and Memorial and shopped for students and their families. This was made possible with generous donations from Walmart, Lace, American Legion Riders, and Elite Towing. The event has grown so much that we actually needed to rent a bus this year, so it continues to improve. Finally, LPD employees combined forces with the public in collecting items for the Lansing Food Pantry. We collected and delivered several boxes of food and helped restock the shelves at the pantry. Lansing FOP also made a monetary donation of $500. The pantry was extremely grateful and wanted to remind everyone that they appreciate all the donations and help can be used all year round. That's all I have for this month. Thank you, Trustee.
Thank you, Chief. Moving on to the monthly report from Public Works, Supervisor O'Neal.
Thank you very much, Trustee. As part of our continued activity to improve community engagement, our Public Works Department is focused on three initiatives. Number one is increases for our services to our village people we call the Public Works Department. We've introduced a new IVR system. This is a voice response system that enables a caller to call in. You probably know the system best. When you press number one, you can get an operator. You can press number two as far as receive information as far as the home with disposal. Number three, you can get to our e-shop department. Basically, this service as far as is set up in order to, again, improve our communication from our residents into our operations as far as at Public Works environment. Number two, Samsara is an application which we've recently launched. We are actually in the trial mode right now. This system is engaged in collecting GIS information as well as GPS information on our vehicles within our fleet. Our goal is to install this across 25 vehicles. Again, this service is actually built around helping our fleet operations improve our overall efficiency, as well as training and development initiatives, as well as a safer and more accountable fleet. Number three, the next one is mobile technology. Thanks to our partners as far as in IT, we received 5 new iPads. These iPads, again, in our continued efforts to improve our community engagement program, these iPads are going to be used for our fleet operations to receive as well as to initiate work orders. This enables our fleets to operate a lot faster as far as what we've been able to do in the past. When we have to call in and make a call as far as about a damaged item or a stop sign down or a tree that may be down. This system enables us to collect this information far faster, get it to the relevant parties that need the information, and to take care of the call much more rapidly. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much, Trustee.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neal. Just attaboy to Public Works once again. I know we've had some strange weather. I just came back to Florida, so it's very special for me. Got a cold, then we got a snow, then you, not enough to plow, but yet you got to put salt out. So guys did a great job.
Thank you very much. We got no snow coming tonight also.
Yeah. Stand by, right?
Yes, stand by.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, trustee, I appreciate it. And welcome back, and why didn't you bring some of that photo powder with you? Anyway, thank you. Now we're going to move on to building, IT, LNN, and marketing. Trustee Lamothe.
Thank you, Mayor. No action items today, so we're going to move on to the report. We'll start first with our building commissioner, Zoran.
Thank you, Trustee Lamothe. The building department issued 165 permits reflecting $2,106,905.11 invested back into our community. Our inspectors have performed 150 home inspections and 42 rental inspections. Our code enforcement officers issued 122 violation notices. These notices do not reflect the numerous conversations with our residents, either by phone or in person, to resolve issues and avoid notices being written. We have 4 new businesses in town. Mikowski's Real Sausage Company, located at 16710 and the office at 16700 Chicago Avenue. This is a sausage manufacturing company. We have a business at REP Worldwide, located at 18511 Torrance Avenue. This is a tax preparation service. We also have under Yahweh's Care, located at 18603 Sherman Street. This is a child daycare. Lula's Floral and Gifts, located at 3330 Ridge Road. This is a floral gift shop. That's all I have, Trustee Lamont. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we'll move into both IT and LNN. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Trustee. For the IT department, we have continually worked with our OpenGov platform. We are doing a staged rollout with it. So what we've been doing is opening up different facets to the residents as well as to different key staff members. So fairly quickly with some pieces and a little bit slower with others, just because we want to make sure that the implementation goes as smoothly as possible for everyone. We have also finalized the board packet system, and we've been in the middle of training. So several of us key staff as well have been going, attending trainings with that, and we're excited because we've actually been able to even do some testing with it for this current board meeting. So it was good. It was a good way to test it, and we're hoping to do a more formal training to department heads and trustees in February, which will also institute, at least for trustees, you'll have devices that you'll have access to. That you'll be able to bring an iPad, for example, to the meeting. So those are being ordered this week, and then as you connect to the different to the website and the portal, you'll be able to see all the different items right there without having to waste so much paper, so to speak. And as I said, we're hoping to do training for that in February. We are also middle planning for the upcoming Fox Point season in regards to LNN, as well as thinking through some additional video wall functionality. We added some different features last year, and so there's a couple new ideas we have, such as some things this year. So, which will also include getting some additional staff to know how to use it, so that it won't be myself or Daniel at every event. So. And we have been also working with at LNN to kind of go through their hardware. They've had some, we've been piecing together a lot of things for a few years, and so there's been some significant hardware things that they've been needing to get fixed and taken care of. So I've been working with the staff there in reference to it, as well as working with the construction that they've been doing outside. They've actually painted now the upstairs, all but one area at LNN, so we're very excited by that. And then we're
looking forward to new signage, exterior signage that will be coming, as well as eventually flooring. So just some definitely needed upgrades over there for, a building that's over 70 years old. So we have already, as we mentioned last month, I believe, we upgraded the Main Stop program, and we've started accumulating all the different information, and I'm going through training with OpenGov as how we can get the data from Mainstar directly into the OpenGov platform, as well as the Lansing Rental Housing Program. We had some very productive meetings this week about that as well, so we're hoping to roll out that fairly quickly. So, and that's all for the IT department. I will just go into the LNN piece, if that's okay. Thank you, Trustee. So for LNN, we had several promotions that we were working with. So in partnership with the fire department, they did a promotional campaign, as some of you may have seen on social media, series of videos that went on social media as far as helping them as they are looking to do some recruiting. So it was really good to be able to work with some of the firefighters and paramedics and kind of figure out what they would like to see, and then speaking with key staff over at the fire department as well, and ensuring that everything came out exactly as they would like. For the holiday season, we did the 12 Days of Lansing's Christmas. Just a short holiday video, just to wish everyone a happy holidays and give season's greetings. And so we did a lighthearted thing with staff singing the 12 Days of Christmas. We also did This Year in Lansing, which we typically do on December 31st, which is basically a year-end recap of highlights from throughout the community, including Fox Point programming, in-house productions, and local events. So just a retrospective we typically always do on December 31st. As well as we've been able to see our great growth in our social media through the use of Reels, and we're looking forward to continuing on with that now that we have some additional staff, we're going to be gearing up to do more with that. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the report, Director. That's all I have today, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee. We're going to move on to Youth Center and Venues Operations. Trustee Nommensen.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing on the agenda tonight, so we can go right into the Youth Center report.
All right, thank you, Trustee Nommensen. Our construction has continued, although it's slow due to seasonal changes. We have begun our interior work, including patching up walls and starting to paint and refresh our rooms. For our events, Pace Bus Company, along with the Youth Center partner for our second annual Fill the Bus Toy Drive. The company once again selected the Youth Center, donating over 50 toys, including 2 bicycles. Due to our ongoing construction, we chose to extend the giving spirit by passing along the blessings. We gifted all our gifts to Strikes and Blights for our holiday food giveaway. Children were able to select presents from the tree, and the 2 bicycles went to 2 of our deserving youth who needed bicycles. They are members of the Youth Center. For our holiday spirit, the Youth Center staff decorated a tree along with others for Fox Point, and we also attended Lansing's annual tree lighting ceremony. And our big event for the month of December, we participated with Fund Drive for the second time, collecting over 900 pounds of gently used clothing, toys, and household items. All donations supported local charities during the holiday season. Myself, along with one of my staff, loaded up a 1-bedroom U-Haul to capacity. The effort allowed us to not only declutter the center, but to give back to local charities, and then we raised $250 along that process. So thank you to all the families and the youth that donated and decluttered during the holiday season. As far as professional development, we concluded our sexual harassment training, and then I attended Illinois After School Network Lunch and Learn session. Our program stats, of course, we're still closed, so no participation in the building, but our membership is at 60. That's all I have, Trustee Nommensen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aneisha. Now we'll move on to the venue report.
Thank you. I'm sorry, the glare from the 10 trustees. lighting, we appreciate it. Holiday tree viewing at Fox Point concluded on December 23rd. The venue was open for 17 different dates to allow guests to view all the sponsored trees and other holiday decorations. Our suggested usage policy revisions for private rentals at Fox Point were created and are undergoing final edits before being implemented. And more progress was made on our full public event schedule for the upcoming 2026 season, and all dates will likely be filled by the end of January. Moving to the complex, overhead video and still images of the recently completed work that was finished in November, both before and after on the ball fields. Those were prepared. My thanks to Fabian and his staff for giving us some before and after looks from overhead. These will be used for marketing and for advertising purposes in the upcoming year. We obtained quotes at the end of 2025 for replacement of all building doors and concession windows, protective covers at the complex. Some are in very poor condition, so the quotes will be prioritized based on the most immediate need and then considered for inclusion in the FY fiscal year 27 budget. And the aforementioned 12 Days of Christmas, Santa Claus made a surprise appearance at the newly renovated fields to appear in that star-studded video. However, despite rave reviews from online film critics, Santa did not win an award at the recent Golden Globes. I personally think he was robbed. Historic Ford Hangar, discussion and planning continued for the 100th anniversary celebration of the Ford Hangar later this year. For trustees up top and all with packets, September 12th, it says, is the date of the event. That is a possible date of the event. There is another possible date that may be working its way in, and that'll be finalized very soon. So please make a note of that. Staff participated in meetings with village administration and JMA architects relating to future development at the Ford Hangar. And then finally, as with Fox Point, usage policy revisions for private rentals at the hangar as well were created and are undergoing final edits before being implemented. That's all, Trustee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. That's all for.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Trustee. We are going to move on to public comment. Public comment is for anyone that would like to come up. 5 minutes. We do have a mic up here, and if you would please state your name and your address. Yes, Carl.
My name is Carla Eucness. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'm Carla Eucness. I am the owner and operator of Carl's Supper Club. For the last 3+ years, I've been coming here. Now I'm here about an ordinance. My business was open for 2 months, and then I was shut down unlawfully, according to the ordinances. And that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about, the ordinance. According to Ordinance 833, or 8-33A. Findings, decision, and order. And it brings it out here. We're an adjudicator by the name of Jack G. Said that on November 1st, 2024, we served liquor at our establishment. One, it didn't happen. She brought out the things that were brought out in the summons. She never proved anything. She never showed any evidence, which is supposed to happen. She never brought out anything from any testimony from anyone who supposedly saw it. We had a kangaroo court right here with Thomas Condon, who said he was the village attorney. I asked for reviews of the testimony and the hearing, which I never got. The only way you can get a revocation of your license is if the trustees vote you out. That never happened. It's a very personal situation. And I do blame the village specifically you guys' legal team. I say it loud and clear and proud because I know what you did, and I'm saying it to you guys too. Carla's Supper Club. They shut you down unlawfully. I've been trying to get back in because they say I have to reapply. I wrote them as early as today. Probably 30 other letters, which will come up again in court, because for whatever reason they believe not responding makes you stop. But every one of you, especially the trustees, I said it to you before, you are personally responsible when you know the truth and don't do anything about it. No alcohol was ever served. Nothing was ever proved. Please look at your ordinances. If Section 833A stands, then Section 833C should stand. Section 833A, ordinance. Section 833C. No corporate authority has ever had this meeting to judge whether we should be closed or not. They issued me a license for liquor, they issued me a license for live entertainment, and arbitrarily took it all back on their own. No meetings, no anything. And guess what? If anything happens to me for saying it or doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna tell you, on my last breath, I will fight this. I will fight it. I signed applications since November 2022, guys. We're in the 4th year. I'm located at 2378 172nd Street. My name is Carla Euclid, Carla's Supper Club. Stop by, because guess what? My lights are on, because you're not going to close me down. You're not shutting me down. Now, no, I'm not selling anything, but my business is open. Mr. Welch, you and Thomas, oh my God. And so that's all I got to say tonight. And thank you very much.
Does anyone else have anything for public comment? If not, I will close that portion. Trustees have anything on old business?
We are in old business. Briefly, the train issue on Thornton Lansing Road. I'm sure many residents that have called my phone or seen me in the store asking for relief. I don't know if the administrator can probably find out who that rail line owns it, so we can do some letters or phone calls, or get our state officials involved to try to get them to not stay overnight, causing a lot of 18-wheelers to have to back up, turn around, and cause a lot of rerouting to Ridge and other streets that they shouldn't know how to get through. It's sitting there now on the way here, blocking, so I really would like to start some type of petition or something to get relief from our residents. If we can call them or do some letters, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I know, Trustee, we have reached out to the railroad several times on this. I'm hoping it's not going on deaf ears, but we're going to continue to move down that path. I agree with you 100%. Trustees have anything else for old business? Trustees have anything for new business? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Clerk, please take a roll.
Trustee Lawson?
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust?
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen? Trustee Smith? Aye. Trustee Lamothe?
Aye.
Trustee
Aye.
We will just take 1 minute before we start into the... Trustees have before them the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting on December 16, 2025. Are there any questions or discussions? If not, I need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Lawson?
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust?
Aye.
Trustee Nommensen? Aye. Trustee Smith? Aye. Trustee Lamothe?
Aye.
Trustee Valencia?
Thank you. We're going to move on to the mayor's report. Under the mayor's report, I have a couple items. I'd like to recommend to the board to reappoint Jay Klausner to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. This will be a 5-year term for Mr. Klausner. Do the trustees have any questions or concerns on that? If not, I would like to have it put on our next board meeting for approval. Thank you. Moving on, I'd like to recommend appointing Carl Vandermolen as our chairperson for the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. Actually, Carl is here right now. Carl, you sat on as a commissioner for many years, I believe. And if you wouldn't mind just kind of giving a little brief synopsis of your days on the fire department and you being on the Fire and Police Commission. I appreciate it, sir.
Okay, I'm a retired firefighter from Lansing. I retired back in '05. It was a very rewarding career. I missed it a lot. And then about 4, 5, 6 years ago, I got the opportunity to serve on the Fire and Police Commission, which was a blessing and a privilege, and really was having a great time doing it. Great commissioners I'm working with. And now, thank you for the privilege of nominating me to be a chairperson. It's rewarding to see the department, who is dear to my heart, to get better and better and more progressive, and the PD too. And for me to be able to be part of it is, again, just something that I cherish. So, thank you.
Well, thank you, Carl. We do appreciate your service, and we'll have this on the board for board approval at our next board meeting. And again, I appreciate your service and thank you for being here.
If I could just say one more thing.
Absolutely.
We have a fire test coming up January 31st, and I'm really ecstatic because we have 17 candidates of applications came in. 10 of them we could hire today if it was possible. The other 7 are in paramedic school and very encouraging. So if they all show up, FD, we could really booster our members. So.
Well, you put a big smile on Chief's face. So
and mine too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it, Carl. Thank you. Do trustees have anything that they would want to ask?
Mayor, I'd just like to add, having worked both with Jay Klausner and Carl Vandermolen back in PD days and FD days, just excellent choices. I'm glad for these gentlemen that they're willing to serve in this capacity. And Board of Police and Fire Commissioners is one of those quiet commissions that just kind of work in the background, but their value is so very much felt and appreciated when it's time to put out recruitment and testing and get those gentlemen approved for hire, and it goes through a process, and they play a vital role in that. And if it wasn't for a good working Board of Police and Fire Commissioners, it would just stymie the process to the point where things just do not work well. Vitally important, great guys to be on it. I'm very thankful for the guys that are willing to serve, and just please relay our thanks to the entire commission for a job well done. Did a lot of hiring in these last few years, and it wouldn't have been possible without a good working relationship with you guys on the commissions.
I'll pass that on.
Good job.
Yeah, FD has been really great in the last couple of months of promoting themselves, and I think hopefully this will continue. That's why we got so many applicants. They did some really unique things this time that I hope is something that continues on in the future.
And the quality of the men and women that we got on both departments definitely shows coming out of the Fire and Police Commission. So we do appreciate your hard work and your dedication and volunteerism. So thank you, sir. That's all I have under the mayor's report. We're going to move on to the village administrator, Mr. Podgorski.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of items here this evening. First of which is a discussion on Chapter 20 of the Village Code of Ordinances, which addresses peddlers and itinerant merchants. Not going to take us through an entire definition, but basically we're talking about vendors that engage in the temporary business of selling or delivering goods, and vendors that, whether they're by foot, cart, automobile, or any other type of vehicle, go from place to place, house to house, or street to street, carrying or conveying or transporting goods. And also, it could be somebody who, without traveling from place to place, would sell or offer the same for sale from a wagon. You can tell this was written a long time ago, or automotive vehicle. So, you know, sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I appreciate the IT department for grabbing this picture. What we're trying to do here is limit the peddlers and transient or itinerant merchants to those types of special events that might be applied for. Somebody, a Lansing business owner that wants to celebrate an anniversary, a resident that wants to celebrate a birthday, or maybe a special event that might even be held by the village at Fox Point or one of our other venues. What we're trying to do here is really go to bat for the brick and mortar merchants that invest in this village on a permanent basis. You know, when Lansing's not in a food desert, you know, food desert's a popular terminology, and you know, and it's valid in some cases when there's not fresh produce or food from supermarkets or grocery stores, but that's not really what we are. There's plenty of grocery stores around us, and you know, I've thought for some time personally, but you know, and having talked to the clerk and the mayor, I think this is something we all kind of feel that, you know, when a temporary or, you know, called a food truck is allowed to set up shop on a somewhat permanent basis, you know, set up for really the season, 6, 7, 8 months, you know, they're siphoning off sales that would otherwise go to, again, brick and mortar businesses, local business owners that pay property taxes and really support the business community all year long. And this is not certainly not meant to pick on this particular example. There's been other food trucks that I know have been in town. This is just a probably more recent example, and I hear nothing but good things about their food. What I would tell whoever owns this truck is that we've got some stores that are vacant, and if they'd like to operate in our town, we will work really hard to find them a place. Because we have other, you know, there's plenty of other food vendors in the area that, again, in this particular case, one that's probably 100 feet away is paying property taxes on a site. So what I'm asking, and I've got, the other thing I want to mention, and this is Chapter 28 of our code talks about tag days. This is not in any way, shape, or form intended to say anything about tag days. We all know we have not-for-profit groups, the Little League, softball, Knights of Columbus, you know, Lions, they do their tag days. This is not meant to change anything about tag days. We continue to have those. So what we're recommending, and again, for discussion here by the board, is to ask our legal staff to make some changes to Chapter 28 to limit the use of peddlers and itinerant merchants to special events for which you'd have to make an application. And I mentioned some of those events that would be permissible under this proposal, and you know, and not, you know, and limit the use of food trucks to those types of events only, and not permit the use of them in cases like this.
And I have to agree with Dan, you know, on this. We do have plenty of brick and mortar restaurants that, you know, these business owners, you know, put their heart and soul into their business, you know, and like you said, if we were on a food desert, you know, but we have so many different, you know, types of foods that, you know, our residents and our surrounding community can go to. So again, I know this has been a discussion with me and the clerk, along with yourself. And like I said, we wanted to present this to the board and can get your, no pun intended, food on thought on this. But, you know, again, as Dan said, you know, this, you know, and again, not picking on this establishment, this food vendor, but, you know, there is literally a brick and mortar, literally 150 feet from that doorway, you know, that they pay real property taxes on, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, they do try to hold their prices down to accommodate, you know, our residents and surrounding communities. So, again, you know, this is, like I said, up for discussion, but I think it's something that definitely needs to be discussed.
I just, for one, fully applaud this effort. I think the only thing I would just advocate for is real enforcement, real team enforcement. You know, I was shopping at Walmart, and next thing you know, there's a food truck that pops up and starts grilling in the parking lot of Walmart. And thankfully, Commissioner, you know, Savic took my call and went out there, and you know, it's like what happens at nights and weekends when, you know, our code enforcement isn't so regulated, you know, enable our police department to be able to shut these merchants down.
And that has happened.
Yeah. And so I fully applaud this. I think one question I would have is, you know, what happens if a business like, let's use this hypothetical example of this taco truck. What if they have an arrangement with the business that their property is on, where they're, you know, can we prevent a Family Dollar from hosting or making an arrangement to give up some of their property to someone, and like, if they hire them to be on premise, like, is there a way of preventing that? And I guess that's a question for Attorney Welch, or maybe that's for future discussion.
Yes.
Yeah. And then one, I think, Administrator Podgorski, you made one comment that I want clarification on. A family hires a food truck for a 13-year-old birthday party. Would they need a permit in order to have that food truck on site, or that does not? Did I mishear you on that?
Yeah, that's what I did mention, that there'd be some sort of application or approval process. I would defer to Matt's company, and, you know, maybe it's not needed for that. Yeah, I know that could be cumbersome.
They're not open to the public.
Yeah.
For private parties, so it would be a different issue.
Yeah. That's what I was curious about, but just you know, taking back to December whole thing, I applaud it, I encourage it, give it real enforcement because, yeah, I mean, we need to support our local businesses that have agreed to come and get a license, to be inspected, to fall under the, you know, purview of our health inspector. They are paying property taxes. I know food trucks are popular, pop-up, you know, taco tents are popular, and jerk tacos and things like that, but I do think as a municipality, we should have the ability to support our local businesses that participate all around in the betterment of our community. So I'm in favor of this.
And I do want to applaud Zoran and our police department. I think it was maybe 2.5 months ago, Zoran, we had a pop-up on the corner of Wentworth and Ridge. And what they do is they stream out social media, you know, through Facebook and everything else. And they're one. And to me, that's real critical. I mean, salmonella and all kinds of other, you know, sicknesses can, you know, possibly come from that. You know, those things. I'm not saying that they are, but I mean that's, you know, the concern of the residents is priority for me. And we have, like I said, we have plenty of brick and mortar restaurants that hopefully would appeal to your palate throughout our municipality.
Administrator, would this apply as well to those pop-ups on the corner that sell like Easter baskets for the holidays and things like that?
It would.
And then telephones that they set up. In my experience with this, twice when I went into the location that the tenant popped up, they said, we thought the village said okay. And it's a weird, did you say okay? You know, So we're kind of, if we type this up to everybody will know we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and it's certainly not intended to prevent, the Girl Scouts from setting up and selling, that happens occasionally. That's not the intent here, and I don't have a little draft ordinance that way. I mean, we all know some of the corners of the Girl Scout stop. That's not what we're going for. It's just meant to get to support our local business. There's nothing else. So what we'll do is we're going to bring this back to a committee of the whole after we sit down with Attorney Welch and have a look at the ordinance and come up with. We don't have it in a draft form. This was more of a memo and an idea that will go out there. So we'll probably bring this back to a committee of the whole and then discuss the particulars and how it affects the ordinance.
One question, Administrator. Is the door-to-door soliciting registry or permitting, is that also included in Chapter 28, or is there a different?
It is. I mean, that's definitely. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is definitely a peddler, one who talks about going place to place, house to house, street to street. So I mean, again, my recommendation would be to include that as well, so that if you're,
I think it's important to include it if this is the right chapter. I'd really like to see that wording put in there, and then kind of make it known again across the village that we do have a process to approve people that go door to door. This day and age, there's a lot of people that would promote themselves to be something, representatives of some company, but yet if there's no registry, if there's no requirement for identification, all these things that safeguard our folks. It used to be a simple call to the village hall for our police officers to see if this is in fact is someone that's registered or not. And it's important for the people that answer the door to say, hey, if you're registered, I'd really like to see some ID, or are you registered with the village, just to make sure they're legit. So if that would fall under this chapter, I think it would be good to kind of dust off that wording as well and kind of kick it out again as something that is available to our residents to double check on things if there's concern.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure Matt will address that as well, and we'll have something to review here shortly at an upcoming COW. Okay. All right, there's no other questions on that item. I have one other one, and this is a proposed contract renewal with Cornerstone. These are our Springfield, our legislative consultants. We have Lauren Gooding, one of the principals at Cornerstone, is here with us tonight. Lauren, give us a wave. She's here all the way tonight from Decatur. So, Lauren, thank you for making the trip up to Lansing. So we've used Cornerstone for a couple of years now. We engaged with them in 2024, and they were integral in helping the village extend the life of the downtown Ridge Road taxing finance district. We know that's going to result in an additional 12 years of increment for our downtown district. This past year in Springfield, they, together with the administration, they helped lobby our state delegation, which is resulting in an additional $500,000 grant that is connected to the historic board hangar. So they were really instrumental in helping us bring some money home from Springfield. They're currently working with us. One of the initiatives for this year will be to engage Cook County Department of Highways and Transportation on the 2.5-decade-old Jewel Road project, which, in our opinion, hinders our ability to extend runway 1836, which is on the south side, which would mean a lot of additional development potentially for Lansing Airport. They were instrumental at Lansing Hub. We had our first ever Legislators Day back in November. It's an idea we brought home last year from the Municipal League. and they were instrumental in getting all three of our legislators to come out to Lansing. We had a great day, took them on a tour of our town and really kind of lobbied hard for the benefits of tax increment financing, which, especially in the border town, how important it is to us. And really, and I don't, I guess I probably stole all your thunder, Lauren. Do you want to, Lauren, talk a little bit about, Lauren, what you do, and obviously, you guys don't just serve Lansing, but, like we're talking a lot this time of year.
And the projects that we're asking you to work on too as well, hopefully in the future, so, I'm sorry, it is important.
Absolutely, and thank you for allowing me to be here tonight on behalf of our firm. So like Mr. Podgorski said, we've been very grateful to represent the village. For the past couple of years now down in Springfield, this time of year session is just beginning, so we've started sending daily updates to Dan on some of those bills that have been filed that we think could really have an impact on the village. It's something that we take pride in having a very proactive approach, because we know being on the front end of some of those issues is much more effective. We're also working already to plan the next visit down to Springfield to advocate with your legislators and make sure that you have that support going into this year and future years as well. Like we talked about the airport extension and how we've been in conversations with IDOT and with Cook County to see where we can work together and coordinate for that extension to happen and bring more business to the community. I think you touched on most of those highlighted projects, but overall we really just appreciate your consideration to continue this partnership and allowing us to continue to serve as an extension of your team and all the great work that you're doing.
Yeah, I'll add a couple other things. Last year we were down at Springfield for a lobby day, and we had an appointment with State Senator Mike Porfirio, who's I think on transportation, and Lauren had an appointment set up for us late in the day, and instead would have the skies opened up and it was a torrential downpour. I mean, this was like beyond, like rain, umbrella type. And I'm at the hotel, and I call over to Cornerstone's office, and I'm really expecting Lauren to say, yeah, you know what, all the legislators went home, and we'll do it another time. I called up Lauren, she's like, yeah, you need to be here in like 15 minutes, we're heading over. She goes, we got umbrellas. Okay, yeah. So I mean, really diligent, and helped us navigate the terrain down there, not just the rain, but in getting into the right office in the Capitol. So just a wealth of knowledge. And I will say this: there's times when there's really certain bills, and Mayor and I talk about this all the time. There's a movement down in Springfield to roll back pension benefits, and it would be very costly to Lansing and other municipalities. And this is a hot button issue, and I will say this, that when I call down to Cornerstone, that we might be getting nudged by our council of government, by South Suburban mayors and managers that, hey, this is happening, this is going to be called for a vote, and I can call down to Springfield, and it's usually Will Cousineau, who get on the phone. Will knows what's going on. He was a assistant to the speaker for a lot of years, and he's told me on more than one occasion, yeah, that's not getting called. It's not happening. It's not happening. It might come. You got to be diligent, you got to be wary of it, but it's not happening in this session. So really kind of have their finger on the pulse of what's going on out there. So contract extensions for a year, $6,000 a month. As I mentioned before, we're getting 12 years extension on the Ridge Road TIF. We got a $500,000 grant that came through this past year. So, I mean, Cornerstone's more than paid for themselves. I think it's representation that, in some ways, I would say we can't afford not to have it. But they've more than covered what we have to send them to represent us, and I'm just really happy to have them on our side. So happy to answer any questions, and I know more to do too.
I have one serious and one non-serious question. Non-serious question: can you help us lobby to convince the Chicago Bears to come to Lansing?
I'll get right on that.
My serious question is, so some of these things are year-long, multiple-year endeavors, so the airport, things like that. So I guess my one question to the administrator is, I see we're voting on a 1-year extension. Is the idea here that every year we kind of renew and kind of review the effectiveness of the agreement versus, hey, let's do a 2-year note that this is a long-range planning kind of structured this bill that we'll be working on. So I guess the benefits of a 12-month versus a longer term at a locked-in price.
Yeah. It's a great question. I think the longer we get to know Cornerstone, I think our relationship is still on the newer side. And I think it's important that the board knows what we're working on with Cornerstone. And I really appreciate Lauren coming here tonight because putting a face with a name is huge. But I think as we go down the road and continue to see the results, that I think, at that point, the board also say, hey, let's re-up for the 2 or 3 year. I think it makes sense. I think up until now, I think the opinion's been, hey, it's still new. I don't want to be presumptuous. I don't want to present something to the board that, we got new members on board. So that's why up until now it's been a year by year.
And I don't think there was an increase, was there?
No.
And that's part of this, there was no increase,
I know Trustee Abbasy's not Dutch, but if we're talking a couple of year contract at a discount, I think that'd be a really good idea.
Well, I'll talk to Lauren and Will and see what they're willing to do.
I do think one thing that's important for us as a board is, with the TIF extension, we can associate that with some of the work at Cornerstone. And so as, projects are being presented to the board, if there was some impact or influence by the work of Cornerstone, would be helpful just kind of know throughout the year, so we can kind of keep tabs of the effectiveness of the agreement and the partnership. So I want to sense on that.
That's a good idea.
The board's okay, if there's no other question, the board's okay, we'll have this on the next agenda. Okay, very good. I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. You are free to cut out because Lauren's not only going back to Decatur, she's got a 5-month-old at home. So I want you to don't feel bad getting the heck out of here. Thanks for making the trip.
Absolutely. Safe travels.
I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Podgorski. We're going to move on to our village attorney's report. Mr. Walsh.
Nothing.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Finance and HRC, Trustee Smith.
One item to present, Mayor, surplus equipment request, except for Director Hanigan or for Administrator Tom Gorski.
Thank you. Do you want to start?
No,
thank you, Trustee Smith. So, board, before you have 3 lists of surplus equipment. This is a combination of vehicles and surplus equipment going back on a number of years. So these lists have been long in coming. I'll start with the police list, which is almost entirely vehicles, all related to the enterprise leasing program that we leased approximately 10 vehicles during the last 6 months. This is the replacement vehicles of those that are, we're going to go back, turn these back into enterprise, and hopefully one of the evaluations that we have to put forth on the enterprise program is the amount of money that we get in what we call the aftermarket. So this will be the start of that process. You'll see there was 3 or 4 hybrids on that list. I think Chief Phillips would tell you that the lease of those type of vehicles was only, I think, a mediocre experience at best. So the second list is a list, so that's the police list. The second list is a list that I had asked Director O'Neal to put together. It's a combination of vehicles and old equipment that goes back to as far back as the late 90s. I don't know, Director O'Neal, do you want to talk to that list of equipment? I think it's pretty obvious that almost all the equipment that Director O'Neal has listed is antiquated. Every one of those items is fully depreciated. So I think our goal is to get the highest and the best price And then the last list is attributable to the fire department, which is because of because of Director Kooyenga's children's body, we have used up all the fitness equipment. And so apparently, most of this equipment was purchased by the Thornton Fire Department, their Thornton Fire Fund. So it wasn't even really part of the general fund. There's a couple of assets that are EMS related that were traded in. So again, all these lists are periodically come together every 6 months. And if you have specific questions that you have to answer for, but I think you'll see the dates on all this equipment, and every one of these items is either fully depreciated or we're at the end of the lease term.
Finance Director, we've been together the analysis on, this is our first kind of go around with trying to get the vehicles to the lease program.
Yes.
So you'll be kind of getting us something.
So you'll again, Trustee Abbasy, as you recall, there was 3 components to the lease. One was the ability to get more vehicles sooner. The second was the maintenance costs during the program, so we'll have that. And we'll, again, once the board approves this at the next board meeting, we'll turn those vehicles in enterprise and they'll get their
Thank you.
Okay, Brian, is there, I know some of those older Rangers that we had from the building department, are those in anything on the
those
public works? Or?
Well, those are...
Because I know we were going to use 1 or 2 of them. I know that they were, but I know there's a couple of them down there that...
And we're turning those, we're turning those either into enterprise to see if they can get a higher price and best use for them, or we're going to, those vehicles are so bad we may have to just
go to the scrap yard.
Yeah. Replacement parts there, I guess.
Yeah, they are in bad shape.
But they're on the list. They just, I think they're on your list right now.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
One question I have, Brian, so the public works list, that all these vehicles, it says, are not working. So what's the next step when it comes to that?
Sorry.
All the vehicles listed on the public works list, it says current status is not working, which means they're
Yeah, if I can speak to a couple of those vehicles, as far as where the utilization of some of the vehicles, we have a couple of vehicles like from our scuba department, as far as, I guess this was a 30-year-old vehicle as far as which we had some time ago. These vehicles are beyond their lifespan as far as it was used. That's some vehicles 20 to 30 years old. They're just not operable. It's too hard to get them started and the amount of money to do, which we have to put those vehicles in to get them repaired. It's probably not what it costs as far as at this point. So those vehicles as far as are listed, which is not even.
I think Director O'Neal has what you would call a graveyard of areas by where these old pieces of equipment are. And I think you can see it's come to the years, excluding that area out. I think that's safe to say.
And if I can, as far as part of our goal in public works is to make our fleet a lot more agile than what we have been able to be in the past. We want a fast fleet, we want a responsive fleet, and we also want a safe fleet. So again, part of this goal is for us to not only clean up our campus, but as well as to make our fleet give to potential our residents as much faster way and much safer way. So some of the vehicles in which we have currently in our public works now can be, again, beyond their lifespan. They just don't work as far as the amount of money which we have to put into those vehicles. That up and running, we can look at those things as far as for future opportunities to get what we can as far as that work. Not utilizing an operation.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's all I have, trustees. I apologize. Unless Trustee Kooyenga has anything to add on fitness.
My physique speaks for itself.
I feel the same way. So, anyway, with that, I have nothing more to add tonight.
Okay, perfect, thank you. No further items.
Okay, thank you, Trustee. We're going to move on to Airport and Insurance. Trustee Valencia.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Fire and Economic Development, Trustee Abbasy.
All right, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We're going to move on to Police and Public Works, Trustee Zeldenrust.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item. Trustees have before them a proposed 3-year contract extension for Heaven on the Green. I believe we have a representative from Heaven on the Green here tonight. Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Administrator Brian Hanigan. They can talk a little bit about their work for the village and what this contract would address as well.
Sure. Thank you, Trustee. This is a 3-year proposed renewal. Trustee Abbasy just asked the question. So, we've been with Heaven on Green now for a couple of years, and the work that they do is something that we all can see on a daily basis. So I think that's one of the reasons why we felt comfortable recommending a 3-year proposal, because again, it's tangible. We drive by, we see it all the time, as opposed to the work that Cornerstone does for us in Springfield. So Heaven on Green is essentially, become an extension of Public Works. They do a lot of the seasonal landscaping and maintenance that really otherwise would just bog down the Public Works Department. Years ago, Public Works had 60 employees, and we had 8 or 10, summer high school, college kids that would come on board. We paint fire hydrants and, do all kinds of grass cutting, and it's not, the department is different these days. Obviously we don't do garbage and recycling pickup. The shop is only 25 guys, and we don't really get that 8 to 10 manpower of summer younger kids that come on board every year. So it's really kind of difficult to maintain the vegetation that sprouts up in a lot of areas. So Heaven on Green has really taken over one of their main duties is that they've taken over the flower pot maintenance. So they're planting the flowers, they're maintaining the flowers, the pots, they're taking them out at the end of the year. All of our downtown village owned or village leased parking lots, we like to say around Fox Point we have pocket parking. So the lot next to there's so many of them. The post office parking lot, the clock tower parking lot, the new lot just north of the clock tower, the lot next to the original village hall, the lot on Roy Street across from Sports Shop, the Ada Street lot in back of the Bulldog. There's lots all over the downtown, by Lang Street, by Rico's. So they do a lot. They do all of the parking lot maintenance, the weeds that pop up. A couple times a year they get out to do that. You'll see that we have 7 railroad crossings. We were talking about railroads earlier. The railroad doesn't come out to maintain their crossings. Heaven on Green gets out and does that. Special projects come up throughout the year. They're usually doing something at the sports complex, at the Ford hangar. Actually, and I should probably show you, I had IT working on this thing today, so here's some before and after shots, some things they've done for us. This was all in the past year. This shot, hold it just for a second there, maybe. So this shot is at the Ford hangar. They did a nice little landscaping job for us at the southwest corner of the building, where Ken and the venue staff usually bring in brides-to-be or other people interested in running the Ford hangar. That's the after shot. I don't know if we got the before in there, but you see all the nice little, there's the before. You see kind of the, grass and weeds up against the building, and then you see the after with some nice landscaping and rocks, and really kind of dressed it up real nice. See what else did Jocelyn pick up on. So this is that's the alley by Fox Point. I recognize that. That's just off of Henry. That's the alley. That's the picture on your left is probably the alley. If you're on Henry, looking westbound, and that's all the shrubs and vegetation that grows up on the outside of it in the alley. So there's a before and after of that one. This is at the shooting range down by the sports complex. You can see how you see all the vegetation that grows up, and we actually utilize the shooting range for additional parking once the volleyball season starts. So again, there's a before and after picture. It's the kind of work that we get from Evan on Green. This is the one on the left. I think this is near. I think that's near the building, 170th, the old River Plaza 1. And the after picture is different. The after picture, that is actually in back of South Manor Drive on the south side of the manor. That is the ComEd right-of-way that runs in back of these people's homes. Vegetation grows up, and it's real difficult. There's a stormwater drain that's about, it's several houses away from where the vegetation had grown up. So you see the path that they created, and now the area is draining much better. The backyards aren't backed up with water. So,
Dan, if you don't mind,
yeah, please.
I'd like to kind of just say Nasio is here tonight, who is the owner of Heaven, and the mayor. Thank you. I've probably called you half a dozen times, and Nasio and his crew have jumped out within minutes of my request. And a lot of times my request is coming from our residents and safety issues. And I'm going to point out a few of them. There was one on 186th, and I want to say it was out there by Old Farm Road, Clyde, that area. Right. And we're always trying to get Cook County out there to go ahead and clean out that north side ditch there that they own. And when you were coming out, of the subdivision there, you literally had to have your car halfway into the westbound lane to see if any cars coming. I mean, it was dangerous. And I called Nasio and his crew. He was out there that day, and I wish I had the photos, but the vegetation was all over the place. And within 3 or 4 hours, it was night and day. I mean, you could see, all the way to Thornton Avenue almost, without having to pull out there. There was another time we had some torrential rains, and that creek that comes out of Manor Drive that pours into our Lincoln Ditchway there was vegetation all the way in there, all kinds of debris. It's still raining like Jesus, and Nasio and his crew are out there making sure that our streets were not flooding in Manor Drive. I mean, they were out there chopping down branches and clearing debris, making sure that flow happened there as well. And then I want to say there was another one that, behind that Holt's Trucking now on Thornton Lansing Road. Whatever road there is, just to the south of their establishment. It's a small road that kind of takes you into Whitman Estates. Anyway, I had a couple of residents calling me up saying, Mayor, we have to literally drive into the oncoming lanes to get to our homes because of the vegetation growing out there. I called Nasio and his crew. They were out there that day, cleaned it all the way back, and so our residents had a safe path to get to their homes.
Can I add something?
Yes.
So, once you tell us about location, we go clear it up, clean it up, but we don't just go there once. I'll make sure that it stays in the calendar so that we go back every often to make sure that it stays clear, that it stays clean. A lot of people have, drive by and they actually stop to thank us. And when we say, no, it's not us, call the village. The village, they're the ones that are asking us to do this work. You guys are the ones that know where the problems are. And then, people call you, and then you let us know, and then we're going to take care of that. But yeah, all the sites that we go, we will always go back and make sure that they stay clear, they stay clean, and then we continue to beautify the village of Lansing and continue to improve it.
I appreciate what you've done.
Thank you.
Again, for the safety of our residents. And that's not easy work. Like I said, you know, you guys were down there kind of in dangerous situations where that water was like a little running, you know, rapids down there, and your crew was down there making sure that that water was flowing to the Lincoln ditch, you know, so we didn't have any more potential, you know, flooding throughout our neighborhood. So again, and I'm not just stressing it, it's the fact. The fact is you're getting stuff done, and that's important. So again, I just kind of wanted to let the board know that I never really let you guys know, you know, the severity of some of the calls that we get and how quickly heaven on green jumps on it. So,
Thank you, Mayor. Trustees don't have any objection like this to be put on the agenda for the village board meeting.
thank you, Trustee.
That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to building, IT, LNN, and marketing. Trustee Lamothe.
Nothing for this meeting, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Youth Center and Venue Operations, Trustee Nommensen.
Nothing this evening, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to open up this portion to public comment. Now, this would just be anything that we spoke about here in the committee of the whole. Does anyone in the public have any comment? All right, if not, we're going to close that portion of it. We're going to move on to old business for the trustees. The trustees have any old business? Trustees have any new business? All right, I'd like to adjourn to executive session to discuss matters pertaining to the purchase or lease of real property for the use of a public body. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please take the call. Roll.
Trustee Abbasy.
Aye.
Trustee Smith. Aye. Trustee Lamothe.
Aye.
Trustee Valencia.
Aye.
Trustee Zeldenrust. Trustee Ernst.
Thank you. 5-minute adjourn, please.